The postal history of Northern Epirus, a region in the Western Balkans, in southern modern Albania, comprises two periods, 1912 to 1916 and 1940–41. Northern Epirus was under Greek administration during the First Balkan War, but it was then awarded to the newly founded Albanian state by the Florence Protocol. During this period, Greek stamps were used. Greece withdrew from the region in early 1914. The people of Epirus were unwilling to be part of Albania, though, and launched a revolution. Under a provisional government, the independent Northern Epirus was formed in February 1914, and it eventually managed to gain full autonomy under nominal Albanian sovereignty. According to the Protocol of Corfu, Northern Epirus operated its own postal service and issued postage stamps, both official and unofficial. During that year, Greek armies returned to occupy Epirus in November 1914, after the outbreak of World War I, but were driven out by Italian forces in 1916. During this time, Greek stamps overprinted with B. Eta Pi Epsilon Iota Rho Omicron Sigma were used. After the war, the region was confirmed as part of Albania. Epirus briefly came under Greek control again in 1940, after Italy launched an invasion of Greece from Albania. A successful Greek counter-attack occupied much of southern Albania, including Epirus. This lasted until 1941, when Germany invaded and conquered Greece. As earlier, overprinted Greek stamps were used in Epirus during the period of Greek control. Greek occupation 1912 to 1914. The first stamps used in Epirus, following its occupation by Greece in 1912, were Greek stamps overprinted with epsilon lambda lambda eta nu iota kappa eta delta iota omicron I kappa eta sigma iota sigma. These were succeeded in 1913 by newly issued Greek stamps, the so-called campaign issue. Both were meant only for use in the newly occupied areas, or new territories. Following Greece's 1914 withdrawal and the founding of the Autonomous Republic of Northern Epirus, a number of stamps were released in the region. They included official definitive stamps, stamps for local use, and unofficial issues. Epirus definitive issues. The provisional government's first definitive stamps came out in February, March and April 1914. The set of 8 stamps, with denominations of 1 lepton, 5, 10, 25 and 50 lepta, 1 drachma and 2 and 5 drachmae, depicted an infantryman aiming a rifle, while others look on. The 10 lepta and 25 lepta values were inscribed only with eta pi epsilon iota rho omicron sigma, while the others read alpha epsilon tau omicron nu omicron mu omicron sigma eta pi epsilon iota rho omicron sigma. The set was printed by the firm Gersimos Aspartis Brothers, of Corfu, which was also responsible for printing many Greek stamps. Instead of regular perforation, a serrate roulette was used. Serrate roulette superficially resemble perforation, but are distinguished by angled cuts rather than round holes. On August 28, the government issued a new set of 8, with the same denominations as previously, depicting the flag of Epirus and a double-headed eagle in a 2-color design. Like the previous set, it was printed by Aspartis Brothers. The 25 and 50 lepta values from this set were modified at Karita to include the overprint kappa omicron rho epsilon tau sigma alpha in dark blue. A third definitive set came out on October 10, 1914. produced by the Papachrysanthou printing house of Athens. It was issued at Chimera and depicted King Constantine I of Greece with the inscription epsilon lambda lambda eta nu iota kappa 8 the chi epsilon iota mu alpha rho alpha. It consisted of 10 denominations, the same 8 as the previous sets, with the addition of 2 and 20 lepta stamps. Some sheets from this set bore the watermark PARCHEMINDEJOHANNOTIDA Montgolfier, Luca and Amp, CIE, angle em at the top or bottom. Stamps with part of this watermark are priced much higher than stamps without it. Local and unofficial issues. The first stamps of independent Epirus were issued in Chimera in February 1914. The set of 4 was imperforate, featuring a double-headed eagle along with a skull and crossbones, and inscribed epsilon lambda lambda, alpha upsilon tau omicron nu eta pi epsilon iota rho omicron sigma epsilon lambda epsilon upsilon theta epsilon rho iota alpha eta theta alpha nu alpha tau omicron sigma alpha mu upsilon nu epsilon sigma theta alpha iota pi epsilon rho iota pi alpha tau rho eta sigma, produced manually with the hand stamp. They also bore a control mark in the lower right corner consisting of a blue oval with the letters sigma pi inside. After Spiros Spiromelios, the commander at Chimera, though this set was intended for local use, specimens are known with cancellations for Delvanon and Agioe Saranta. Some experts argue that it does not qualify as an official stamp issue. Stamps for local use were also issued in Agia Castro by overprinting Turkish stamps with alpha upsilon tau omicron nu omicron mu omicron sigma eta pi epsilon iota rho omicron sigma and nu values in Greek currency. The overprints were applied vertically in black or red, reading either up or down. This issue was withdrawn from sale on March 6, 1914. On August 28, in Chimera, stocks of Greek stamps from 1911 and 1913 were overprinted with epsilon lambda lambda eta nu iota kappa 8 the 1914 chi epsilon iota mu alpha rho alpha. This set exists both with and without the letters sigma sigma in manuscript. Counterfeits of both this and the first Chimera set from February are plentiful. 4 unofficial issues were also produced in 1914, one consisting of overprinted Albanian stamps, the other 3 bearing new designs of varied quality. These 3 were produced for Ursica, Karitsa and Moshopolis. They were lightly issued for publicity and propaganda purposes. The regular postal use is questionable, though cancelled specimens of the Ursica and Moshopolis issues and examples of these stamps on covers exist. An additional design dates from 1920, long after Epirus's postal system had ceased to exist. Later Greek occupations. Greece resumed control over Epirus in November 1914, on the 30th, to meet the area's postal needs. Stamps from its campaign issue were issued with the overprint Beta Pi Epsilon Iota Rho Omicron Sigma horizontally in black. Red overprints were also made, but not issued. These replaced Epirus's definitive issues. In December 1915, the same overprint was applied vertically, reading either up or down, to Greek definitive stamps of 1911 and 1913 issues. All of these have been counterfeited. Greek forces were driven out of Epirus by Italy in 1916. At the same time, Karitsa came under French occupation. Under French administration, a short-lived republic of course was formed there and stamps were issued in December 1916. They were produced by further overprints of a double-headed eagle and new values in centime on Greek stamps with the beta pi epsilon iota rho omicron sigma overprint. In October 1940, Italy launched an invasion of Greece from Albania. A Greek counter-attack succeeded in occupying much of southern Albania, including Epirus. During this period of Greek control, which lasted until the German invasion of April 1941, the overprint epsilon lambda eta nu iota kappa to delta iota omicron I kappa sigma iota of sigma in black carmine was applied to Greek definitive issues, ML stamps, postage due stamps and charity stamps. The overprinted issues were withdrawn from sale in June 1941.